When I started playing chess, I didn't play against real humans. I played against all of the chess.com bots because I was too scared to play against anyone with a higher rating. I had this weird assumption that I would be worse than anyone that I played against and that anyone with a higher rating would absolutely bulldoze me. But as I kept playing chess, this assumption slowly faded away. But I think everyone can agree that it does still linger. Whenever you verse someone 100 or 200 elo higher rated than you in the pool, you feel like you'll never achieve that rating. Oftentimes, especially when I was around 1700 elo, I would see 1900s and think the game was over before it even started. The way that I eventually got over this was by understanding how my opponents were thinking. Think about it this way. When your friend shows you their games, they're not showing you their boring games, the losses and the draws, they're showing you their best games, where they achieved high accuracy and got brilliant moves. But that doesn't really reflect their skill level. Every chess player will make themselves out to look more skilled than they really are. That leads to the false assumption that a player just 100 elo higher rated than you will win against you 10 times out of 10. Today's video is to tell you the exact opposite. My current rapid elo is 2269, and in today's video, I'm going to show you what the average game looks like for me and exactly what I was thinking when I played it. The game you're about to see is not cherry-picked. It was my second game on of the day, and it's a very realistic representation of my skill level. Understanding how players of other ratings think is absolutely crucial to your development as a chess player. If you're constantly overestimating or underestimating various different players, you're setting yourself up for some serious failure. This is a 10-minute game against a 2246 rated player. And in this game, you'll see exactly how 2200 rated players think. I put a poll up on my community tab on YouTube a couple of days ago, and you guys voted to see how a 2200 rated player thinks. By the way, I just want to mention, this is how long it takes me to get a game. You guys probably don't have to wait too long because there's a lot of people in the pool at your rating. When you go up in rating, there's less and less people in the pool, and you have to wait longer and longer. So I can't imagine what it's like for a 2400. I only have to wait 30 seconds to a minute to get a pairing, but for anyone higher rated, you probably have to wait a little while. We go with the Caro-Kann here, and I play the Botvinnik Karls after he advances my Caro-Kann. This is a very challenging line. He plays f4, which is probably the best try against the Caro-Kann. I made a video on the Caro-Kann not too long ago, if you would like to check it out. It is the most recent video before this one. Actually, no, it's 2 videos ago. I'm uploading something tonight. Anyways, bishop e3 is not possible because of d4. This is quick theory. I won't look at the theory too much. Basically, I know what I'm doing. As should any 2200, they should roughly know their theory. This is probably one of the trickier parts of the Caro-Kann theory to learn, as it's a very, very weird way to play. It's kind of like a French defense, except you've got this weird pawn on d4 that's not very well defended. It's just super difficult to play. But we get into this position. I'm thinking of knight f5 here. I don't really like the prospect of white playing knight b3. So that would attack my pawn on d4 a 4th time and attack my bishop on b5. So I want to play knight f5. I'm calculating right now knight f5, g4. And I think from there I can just jump in and play knight e3. That kind of gives me an awkward pawn, yes. But I also control all of the dark squares because he's given up his dark square bishop, and I kind of like that trade. I don't even mind losing the pawn if I can get the dark squares, because that just means he can't castle kingside at all. He plays a3 here. I assume it's to play b4. I can see no other reason for that. Looking back at the game review, b4 was not really a big threat at all, but I, for some reason, thought it was a threat, so I play a5 here to stop b4. A5 would meet b4 with a takes b, rook takes a1, queen takes a1, and bishop takes b4, and I would be up a pawn there, so he can't play that. So I do end up playing a5 here. But there is a certain drawback with the move a5. I think we'll play it right now. Nope, still thinking, okay. a5, I was also thinking knight c4 stuff, and the d6 square seemed a little bit weak just because it was defended by a pawn. I can castle at any point, but castling, I thought that knight g4 would come, so I just end up playing a4 here, a5, sorry. And if knight b3 now, I can actually just play bishop b6, because my d pawn is adequately defended. The drawback of playing a5 was that I can't kick this bishop once it lands on b6. He ends up going bishop b5, pinning my knights. I'm not really worried about that though. If he wants to give me the light squares, I'm happy to take it, because if bishop takes knights, I play b takes c, and then bishop a6 actually stops you from castling. So that would be a very tricky situation for white to get out of. And I don't really ever think that he's going to take that knight. That's why I think bishop b4, bishop b5 is a bad move. But I go in with knight d3 now, or knight e3. I'm happy for him to take and give me the dark squares. It's very awkward to get rid of this pawn, actually. You might even need to go like knight f1 or something. Knight e4 was a good move though. I did miss this. The issue is you can't move your bishop unless you want to disorganize your pieces. So bishop b6, for example, queen takes queen, and then bishop takes, and then all of your pieces are inactive. Not to mention he has knight d6 check after that. So you have to find queen b6 here. Queen b6 is pretty much the only move. It attacks the bishop as well. If after queen b6 white castles, I was thinking that I have e2 check, which would win the queen because the pawn sees the queen and my bishop sees the king. That would be a double attack. And I'm just thinking any possible moves here. Knight takes, I wasn't really worried about. c5 is a very slow move. Queen e2 was the best move there, blockading the e-pawn, allowing castling and dealing with the pawn on e3 later. c4 is just a little bit too slow. I think I end up castling here. I do. I castle. You still can't castle queen e2 now, and now you can castle, but it was just a wasted tempo to play c4 because queen e2 did hold the bishop as well. So there was just no real reason to play it. I was always thinking of some f5 stuff, but you can't really do anything after e takes, apart from g takes, because the knight holds the f6 square. So I didn't think that worked too well. I want to play something like bishop d7 now, because I want to, 1, activate the bad bishop, and 2, I want to connect my rooks. So I end up playing bishop d7 here, and we're going to play rook fd8. We don't want to play rook ad8, because the rook on the a file has a bigger job than the rook on the f file right now. And if I bring my rook from the f file to d8, later on I can bring my rook on the a file to c8, and they both have jobs. So he snaps off my bishop here, which I thought was a little bit... intuitively, it felt a little bit wrong. I just felt that I had a little bit extra space now that I recaptured with my queen, and my queen is more active now. And he puts tempo on my bishop. I play rook fd8 now. Defending my bishop, I'm prepared to play bishop e8. And I want to trade off the bad bishop. A big part of my plan is to trade off the bad light square bishop for his bishop, which is a lot better than my light square bishop. I'm also thinking of knight takes e5 right now. It's complete nonsense. It doesn't work at all, but I was calculating it. And I'm looking to play bishop e8 here, so I can prepare to play something like knight d4, and I also hold the d file. So I'm not allowing him to stack up with rook d3 or anything. If he captures my rook, I'm going to capture his rook. He plays king h1. It's a little bit of prophylaxis to get out of the pin between his king and my pawn. And now I'm thinking knight d4, which I actually looked at in the game review. And it is a complete blunder, because knight d4, there is queen takes e3, and you lose the knight, because you are pinned to your queen, and you can't defend the knight anymore. I was calculating a lot of things here. Rook d4 was something I was not rook d4, knight takes, rook takes, I'll go over it when it comes onto the board. So he does play knight takes. And here I was thinking, if queen takes, I have rook takes d1, rook takes d1. If he takes my queen, I have rook takes rook check. He has to block with the queen. I take the queen with my rook. He takes with the king. I take the bishop. He takes back, and then I'm up a rook. So he can't take my pawn right now. He can take my rook straight away, though. That is very possible. I don't think that's what he ends up playing, but I think taking my rook is just very possible. I really do want to trade off the bishops at any point. because my bishop is pretty much never going to be good. I was thinking about putting it on c6 at some point. And if he ever wants to get rid of my bishop, I'm going to play b takes c, open up my b file, and stare at his backwards b pawn. I thought that this was a possibility throughout the game. But at the end of the day, I don't think that ever happened. The ideas really never line up, and bishop c6 is never really threatening enough, but it was something that was going on in my head. Pay attention to the position, though, because we're almost done the game. Like, the video is not even close to being over, but we're actually almost... Like, the position doesn't change dynamically too much from here. Because the position is already so complex. There is the weakness on e3, there is a weakness on f4 for white, there is a weakness on b2 for white, a backwards pawn. The pawns are so weirdly set out, there is no easy way for black to get both rooks into the game. It's just a super weird position. That and of course queen takes e3 will be possible at some moments. Undeniably I cannot hold on to this e-pawn forever. And there's just a lot of thinking for both sides. And this is what I meant at the start when I said 2200s are not perfect. This probably looks a little bit similar to your games, where this isn't the cleanest chess in existence. I did think rook takes, queen takes, rook d1. I thought that was a very strong line. I wasn't really sure what to play there. I think queen e4 was my general consensus there, holding onto the pawn. But then I thought rook d3, and I really wasn't sure. Oh, rook d3. I think my idea was just queen takes f4 there. Okay. So yeah, I'm pretty sure these rook takes, queen takes, rook d1 ideas didn't work. I think that's what I was thinking at this point. Not sure what my opponent's thinking of. I think generally he's probably just thinking of the queen takes e3 ideas, and there's just no way to make those work with the back rank problems that he has. I have back rank problems also. It's something that I look to improve on later. But right now I'm pretty happy with my position. I want to get rid of my bad bishop, and there's really no way for him to, refuse this trade of bishops. He's going to have to give his bishop for mine and double his pawns in the process. I want rook d8 at some point as well. The b5 pawn, once I do take on b5, will never be weak, by the way. He's always got a4. His queen always defends that square. So there really is nothing. I'm just double, triple checking all of my lines here. I don't really have anything new to calculate. And if your opponent is taking a long time on their moves, you should really double, triple calculate all of your lines. You might find something new. He plays h3 here, which is a good move. Just getting rid of all of those. It's a little bit of a prophylaxis move. Getting rid of all of those ideas on the back rank. And so my tactics don't quite work anymore. I am thinking of just immediately taking the bishop here. If I play bishop takes, c takes b, and then I play rook d8. If he plays queen takes e3, I play rook takes d1, queen takes queen, rook takes rook check. I'm pretty sure that's a losing endgame. My pieces are just too loose. I do have 2 rooks for the queen, but he has a majority on the queen side, albeit doubled pawns, but it's very difficult for me to defend all of my pawns, because right now my pawns are not connected because they're 1 square away from each other. So this is not an endgame I wanted to enter. So I kind of had to look for other options. I take the bishop because I was always going to take the bishop in this situation. He takes back with the pawn. And now I'm kind of not exactly sure how I want to play it. I'm thinking, well, first of all, rook d8 actually does work. Rook d8, queen takes. You can actually play queen takes b4, or b5, sorry. And after rook takes, queen takes, I take his rook on f1 with check, and this is a draw. I'm not winning by any means here, and neither is white right now. I'm pretty sure this position is zeros. But I am playing with the black pieces, so it's a little bit You can cut me some slack for it. I was a little bit worried there. Well, first of all, I did not see queen takes b5 at all. My idea... Well, I was trying to make rook d8, queen takes, and rook takes d1 work. I was trying to look for a way to make that work. It's probably why you can see all the arrows. But eventually, I could just come up with b6, which is also just drawn. It's complete zeros. Basically, the idea is I am no longer pinned to my own queen. So after queen takes and b6, I'm no longer pinned to my own queen. But then I kind of had a problem. So after queen takes and b6, which is the move that's going to appear on the board right now, he can take my rook. And I can't take back with my rook because of rook c1, which is supported by the queen. And it skewers my queen in the back rank. And I have no way of defending the back rank without undefending my rook. I can't play rook d1 check, because after rook takes, and then I take his queen, sure, I win the queen for free, but then I get back rank checkmated. Hopefully, as I'm saying all of this, some of these things appear on the screen and I can be bothered editing, so it's a little bit easier for you guys to visualize. But these are generally the things I'm thinking. It's not a lot. Like, a lot of people think that 2,200 is this completely unobtainable rating that you only get by playing chess for years and years and years. Like, I'm not that much more knowledgeable than a lot of you are. He does take my pawn there. Queen takes b5 is just not a move that I'm thinking of right now. Although b6 is fine, if I was in an over-the-board game, I would probably find queen takes b6. Queen takes b5, sorry. But I'm kind of happy with this. It's actually not until around now where I realized that I can't take with my rook, because my whole plan was to take with the rook at this point. Luckily for me, queen takes actually does work, and you can see the look on my face. I was not happy that he took with the rook. You can take with the queen, but I thought it was losing, because I thought after queen takes rook, rook takes rook. You can see I'm looking at rook takes right now, and then I realize. Queen takes rook, queen takes queen, rook takes queen. He's got rook c1. I have to defend my back rank with g6, and then he's got rook c6, attacking the backwards pawn. It's very, very difficult to not lose from that. You need to find rook d2. You can't take on f4. Rook d2 is necessary. And after rook takes b6, you play rook takes b2. After something like a4, defending the passed pawn, you play rook b4. And it's completely fine. If anything, black is actually better there, which is a very interesting line. I was hoping that he wouldn't find that, because with only 2 minutes on my clock, I wasn't convinced that I was going to convert it. It feels like it's a lot easier for white to play than black. Rook d2 is the difficult move in that position. He didn't like it. I'm not sure he even calculated it at all. He didn't take my queen. I really don't know why. I think it's because he was a minute up on the clock. Generally speaking, higher rated players will do this. If they're up on time significantly and rapid, they'll keep the queens on. There's more dynamic opportunities with the queens on the board. You can drain more time from your opponent's clock. And this game well and truly goes into the time scramble, believe me. Well, hopefully I'll shut up for a second when we get into the time scramble and you can hear me real time about what I'm thinking. But my opponent does drain a lot of time off his clock right now. Quickly calculating this line. Well, not quickly, he doesn't really have the time. But we're both below 2 minutes. And I don't really mind being down the pawn in this situation because the pawns are doubled. He plays queen c1. And immediately I want to fix my back rank. I want to play g6. h5 is also an option, but g6 is a little bit safer. As long as my rook or my queen is on the d file, by the way, there is no need to defend my back rank once I have played g6. I only need to defend the d8 square in case of d8 to f6 check perpetuals. So rook d5 is immediately on my mind. My queen defends my backwards b6 pawn, so I'm not worried about that. Playing rook d5 also defends my rook with the e6 pawn, which I really like. And now I'm just attacking the b5 pawn. I'm threatening to win back the pawn. I'm threatening to win the b2 pawn. And overall, I'm very happy here. I mean, the weaknesses we outlined before. The pawn on f4, the pawn on b5, the pawn on b2. He's played king h2, a complete waste of a move there. And I do just pick up this pawn for free. There is no tricks. White is finding it a little bit difficult to get its rook involved, especially with low time. I think he ends up checking here. Queen c8 check, I think, is the move that comes. But as you can see, there's just not really any time to play the perfect moves in this position. Queen c8 check is actually a bad move because it puts your queen on a worse square than it was before. The dark squares were obviously better because you actually attack things, but the queen on c8 actually doesn't do anything, and he's dropped below 1 minute. He ends up playing b4 here, blundering a pawn completely. I thought after b4, a takes b, his idea was a4, which is still a bad idea, but it's probably better than the one that he went for. At some point here, by the way, I do audibly say, and I think I just pointed to it, f5 is always an idea to get some perpetual draws. And it's something that's really difficult to calculate in such low time, because I'm still calculating here. In hindsight, I should have been a lot quicker on these easy moves. He attacks my rook there, so I have to bring it back. Queen c5 was actually a little bit nicer, because you actually just win another pawn if he chooses not to trade off the queens, and if he does trade off the queens, this is a simple win. He's got 30 seconds here to my 57. I pick up the pawn. At this point, though, I've kind of run out of things to achieve. He's played rook f3, which is a good move, so I just bring my queen back. It's not a bad move, but I'm not really achieving anything here. He's gone queen b7. He's gone queen b8. He's clearly just trying to flag me a little bit here. b4. I try to freeze his pawns with h5. And I just don't have anything to do. I just can't figure out what I want to do here. And I've got 45 seconds. I don't have a whole lot of time. I play queen c4, which is, according to the engine, not a terrible move. But I actually blunder the game away here. Blunder a draw. I don't blunder a loss. And I play the move b3. And pause the video now, see if you... Okay, no, I was too slow. Yeah, f5 is the drawing move. It's a great move. I can't play queen takes h4 because the queen defends. I almost blundered that. And the reason it's a perpetual check is because of e6 and the pawn is pinned. I really have nothing that I can do here. It's actually very difficult to see the defense. It's queen d4. Queen d4 is the only move here. I did not. I actually blundered mate in 9, but my opponent was not going to find mate in 9 with 16 seconds. He checks. I go king h7. He kind of has the opportunity to perpetual check me, but he's up 6 seconds on the clock. But I know queen takes h4 is available now, so I play it. I was thinking that I might get checkmate, but he blocks. I check again. He blocks. I check again. And I'm thinking I have 3 easy checks here. So I take with the queen, sacrifice the queen, check with the rook, sacrifice the rook, g5, he makes another queen, and just that it was mate in 1, I check with the g-pawn, and I grab mate. Not mate, I win on time, as he was about to mate me, and I got my highest rapid rating ever, my rapid peak.